What's up, everybody? My name is Tucker. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some underrated players in the NBA to start this season. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like rating on it. Check out my socials in the description as well. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so really what I wanted to do with this list was to point out some players that, like, underrated is really the only term I can use, but I feel like that gets thrown around too often. And there's these players that continually get like pigeonholed into this like underrated category. And then oftentimes they then become overrated. So I wanted to take an opportunity to create a list of players that I just feel like people need to be paying more attention to, whether it be because of their statistics being higher than a lot of people realize they are, whether it be because their impact on the team is greater than I think a lot of people realize. Just some guys that if I could, make a list and put up a poster, put up a billboard of like, pay more attention to how good these players have been to begin this season, this would be the list I would create. First up on the list is, for the most part, the inspiration for this list, and it's Mikal Bridges of the Phoenix Suns. We kind of, got really exposed to how good Mikal Bridges is during that finals run last year. But I think this year he's been like a borderline defensive player of the year caliber guy. Of course, Phoenix has won a ton of games in a row. He had a great game last night against Phoenix, against Golden State. Obviously, he didn't score particularly well, but the defense was out of control. Guarding Steph Curry, denying him off the ball. Steph had one of the worst games he's had shooting-wise in a long time. And a lot of that, the credit for a lot of that, I should say, goes to Mikal Bridges. And it's also interesting because Phoenix is one of the best defensive teams in the league. They have the second best defensive rating in the league. And when you look at their lineup, there's not really a ton on their roster that would indicate that they would be all that good defensively. Chris Paul is well past an age at which he would be a really good defender, specifically during the regular season. Devin Booker's never been known as an outstanding defender. Jay Crowder competes, but he's never been, top level either. But of course, you have the rim protection of Ayton, and then more importantly to this list, Mikal Bridges on the wing. So it's kind of this like team award because Phoenix is playing so well and they've won so many games in a row. But I just feel like when people think about Phoenix and you ask them, why do you think Phoenix is playing well right now? It's probably going to be something along the lines of, Chris Paul leads the league in assists, or Devin Booker's been scoring the ball really well, or DeAndre Ayton has played, has continued how well he played from the postseason last year. And all those things are true. But Mikal Bridges is one of the best like role player wings in the league. Offensively, he has not advanced his game to the point where he's going to be averaging 20 a game, but that's not really what Phoenix needs from him anyway. And so his impact on the team as a whole, on their defense, has been incredible, and he's someone that definitely I feel like deserves a bit more attention. Next up is a guy that I love and I've talked about in plenty of videos. It's Jarrett Allen of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that a lot of people know that, especially with the combination of Evan Mobley's been hurt, but in the beginning of the year, those two guys together, Jarrett Allen was getting a lot of attention, but it was always in combination with something else. It was in combination with, wow, Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley are an awesome front court, or Jarrett Allen and Darius Garland together are a really good pick and roll combination, or hey, the Cavs are winning more games than we would have expected, and Jarrett Allen has something to do with that. But individually, he's been fantastic. He's averaging 16 and 11, shooting just under 70% from the field. He hasn't brought along some of the floor spacing stuff that I think was a bit of the draw of bringing him in and putting him alongside Evan Mobley, because you can allow him to space off the ball. He's pretty much just eliminated that part of his game, but it's not the end of the world because it has resulted in incredible hyper efficiency at the rim when it comes to scoring the ball. And like 16 might not sound like a lot, but in comparison to his previous years in the league, that's a huge jump in scoring. He's absolutely having a career year. And once this Cavs team gets a little bit more healthy, I think they're really interesting. If it wasn't Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland absolutely deserves a place on this list as well. He is so fun to watch. He's got incredible pace to his game where he's just never really in a hurry, always makes the correct decision, really good at scoring at the rim, is selective with when he shoots threes, but he's very good with those as well. The Cavs are the real deal. I think they're a playoff team, and a lot of that has to do with Jarrett Allen. He's having an awesome start to the season. I feel like there aren't that many people talking about it. Next up, Bobby Portis of the Milwaukee Bucks. Bobby Portis is third on the Bucks in scoring right now. He's in front of Drew Holiday. Not that Drew Holiday's ever been like a 25-point per game scorer, but I think most people would be surprised to learn that Bobby Portis is averaging 15 points per game, which is third on the team. He's averaging 8.5 rebounds a game. He's shooting 44% from three on 2 makes per game. And Milwaukee is kind of catching fire lately. They did not have a great start to the year. They began 6-8. They were missing a ton of guys. Holiday's been known to miss some games. Middleton, DiVincenzo obviously still being out, but they've turned it on lately. They've won 7 in a row. And a lot of the reason why not only they were able to kind of stick around through the injuries, but also they played particularly well since, is because of the play of Bobby Portis. And it's a perfect thing for him where he bounced around to a couple of different teams, but he's really found a home in Milwaukee because as great as the Bucks are, there can be stretches where they struggle to score the ball. If they're not playing Giannis at the 5 and, he's not attacking the rim or Giannis isn't on the floor, Middleton's having an off night or Drew Holiday's not being particularly aggressive, having like a 6-man type scorer in Bobby Portis that can come in and with any unit, he can shoot off the ball, he can attack inside, he works really well with those Giannis at the 5 lineups. And he is an incredible addition for Milwaukee. I think a lot of people expected him, after the way that he played last year and the postseason as well, to take a different deal from a different team and to really get paid. He decided to stick around Milwaukee, and it's really paying dividends right now. I mean, statistically, he's going to end up having a truly, truly fantastic season when it's all said and done. Next up now, the other Bridges, Miles, for the Charlotte Hornets. This was one of those where it felt like in the beginning of the year, Miles Bridges was getting a lot of attention. He was like one of the top scorers in the league. He had multiple 30-point performances in the first couple of games of the year. And as you would expect, those statistics have fallen off a bit, but still averaging almost 20 points per game. He leads the Hornets in minutes and points per game, a Hornets team that looks like a playoff team right now. They're inconsistent at times. They can be very up and down from game to game. One night they can beat the Warriors and the next they can lose to a team that they have no business losing to. But Bridges is absolutely a critical part of what they're doing there in Charlotte. And he's not even shooting particularly well from 3, shooting just over 32%. So if that number goes up, his points per game numbers will likely begin to rise as well. He's a super fun player. He's awesome to watch in transition, getting to the rim. He's a perfect fit with that up-tempo style with LaMelo. And he has a really nice ability to not really get in anybody's way, but also be aggressive at the same time. Like if you want him to play off the ball, play in the dunker spot, attack the offensive glass, attack in transition, fine. He's not someone that's taking up a lot of like isolation possessions or, really doing a lot of the playmaking or the creating. He just works off of everybody else, works off of Hayward, works off of LaMelo, takes advantage of his opportunities at other points in the game, and it's allowed him to, again, lead this team in points per game, which I think if you asked most people, they would not guess that Bridges is a leading scorer for this Hornets team. And then last up is a guy that has gone up and down with the underrated, overrated thing, right? And it's Montrezl Harrell, the Washington Wizards. He's averaging over 16 points per game, which is second on the team behind Bradley Beal, over 8 rebounds per game. He's once again a 6th Man of the Year candidate. And his story in the league has been crazy. When he got there, it was unclear if he was going to have an NBA career at all because he was going to have to play the 5 full time, which obviously defensively is going to be an issue for him. But he figured out a way to be just a really impactful player on the offensive end of the floor, specifically off the bench, destroying second units, playing with a ton of energy and effort, rolling to the rim, being a really good athlete. And then he gets moved to the Clippers and it becomes a more high profile thing. It's him and Lou Williams fighting over the 6th Man of the Year award. Really critical there for the Clippers. And then we know what happens in the postseason, typically with Montrezl Harrell, where he just is unable to stay on the floor, specifically against teams like the Lakers that, can really punish you with size, teams like Utah, teams like Denver. And the league really started to shift more towards big men kind of dominating certain postseason matchups. And that really pushed out Montrezl Harrell because if he wasn't scoring 16 a game in a playoff series, you really couldn't afford to have him on the floor because of how bad things were defensively. The Lakers thing didn't work out at all. And now he's found himself back in a perfect situation in Washington, because as good as Washington has been to begin the season, as surprising as they have been, they are still prone to scoring droughts. If Beal is not having an awesome game, you look at the rest of the roster and you're looking for Spencer Dinwiddie to potentially create plays, or Kyle Kuzma to make some shots, or KCP to make some shots. There's not a ton of instant offense for this group. And so for them to be able to have Montrez, who's played 20-something games, he's only started a couple of them, he's back in that 6-man role, which is perfect for him, is really, really critical. He's one of the main reasons why the Wizards have been so successful to begin this season, and so surprising to begin this season. Now, once we get to the postseason, you never know. He might not get a ton of run, assuming that Washington is in the playoffs. I think that they will be. But that still doesn't mean that we can't appreciate him and point him out as certainly one of the more underrated players in the league, just like everybody else on this list. If you guys have anybody else that you feel like could have been on this list, then let me know, because it was weird. I had difficulty with it, but it also was pretty easy. Like, a lot of these names came to my mind immediately, but then I wanted some more like deeper cut ones. Like, I didn't want to do Darius Garland, because I felt like that was an obvious one, or D'Angelo Russell, who's had a good start to the season. I didn't want to just do ones that I feel like everybody would think about. So these are kind of some deeper cut players that really do deserve some attention for how they've been playing to begin this season. But that is going to be the end of today's video, and I thank you guys very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, be sure to check out the box on screen, check out the socials and the Linktree link down in the description below as well. With all those things said, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.